carpeting, I think, which is why it doesn't attach completely. So I gotta figure out how to do that.
You don't have one of the fridges, do you? You don't have one of the fridges, do you? In your bed?
I haven't tested this out.
Wait, do you need one? Excuse me, do you need one?
I just need one, yes.
Okay, I have one.
He's got one.
got one.
Thanks.
You have some?
Well,
Right.
well, they were saying yesterday that there was like a whole bunch of them at the Panera Bread
Oh, yeah.
on the counter.
Yeah.
So I had like a few extra from there.
Oh, okay. I should have grabbed some too.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of dumb. Yeah, I know like one or two groups of people for sure. But I don't know how many exactly.
Yeah.
I have 6 left. Where are you stationed throughout the day?
I'm at Bridgebuild again.
Okay.
Apparently I did such a good job yesterday. They decided to put me back there instead of 4 mosaics, so I'm happy with that.
Oh, that's all right. Nice.
I'll just wait to use the knee pads when we're cleaning up then.
Right.
Instead of having to worry about kneeling here. Yeah.
All right.
Yep, see you around.
Brian, here's your ticket back. Thanks, Joe.
You're welcome.
No, because they already have one.
Alright, let's do it. For real. Yeah, I'm digging that one. Cool stuff in there. So at night during the flights, they had a couple of these lights on, and there's also a motor running for each of these platforms to move back and forth, which I thought was really impressive. I love that technique. I've tried to do it myself before, but not in this scenario. So I like how it turned out here. I also like the good number of not only Mario MOCs, but also Duplo. These also light up as well. Hello. It's gonna be a lot of mirrors. This one has a small LED in the front for the red lights. Move back and forth. During the day, this one also talks and has different lights for standard eyes and red eyes, with the eyebrows moving back and forth as well. I would just like to see that that kit could actually talk too. Especially since Retro World Expo, I saw it was either the model or a prop car based on the show that was actually talking. Big Optimus Prime. Funny enough, not too far from here, we actually saw a truck outside that looked like this, but the color swapped, so more blue than red. That's pretty neat for a remote control car. It's gonna be a pretty easy cleanup. What I also like is that there's a couple of snowflake pieces in here just to fill out some of the water and getting more rippling. There's an energy effects piece over here from Superheroes. So it's not just the same piece over and over again. A couple other ones sprinkled in. These are all by Tyler Ho. These are amazing. Oh yeah, for the like copper area. Nice. There's like a whole bunch of hair pieces over here.
There's some brick separators, some blue-gray hot dogs.
There's Doctor Strange capes on the end.
Light green frying pans.
Some hidden inside ghost wings.
Golden bananas.
I think there was a Minion set that had a whole bunch of those.
Of course.
Like even one of the set designers prominently talked about it on their Twitter. It's like, I have the most bananas in a single Lego set or something like that in all different ways. It was fun. All over again.
Oh yeah. Pink.
These were featured from YouTube channel Brick Bunny's TV. The goats are quite interesting though. And it may be hard to see here, but the alien, or the figure next to the alien over here from Toy Story, Kevin Hinkle. I did ask him about it. He's got the similar style to him. No, you're all good.
Then you can do that. I mean, there's a couple of Facebook other pages that you can join. You can ask me like, hey, can I self? Just look at our things and ask the administrators, hey, can I self promote on here or something? And then put your pictures up on there and say, hey, I do have them on there for such and such price. You know, just small promotions here and there, and then you bring them to fairs like this, and then you say, I have it on. I have the instructions for this on the report.
Yeah.
And then people either that night when they get home or anything, they'll look.
Yeah. Before I work full that though, I definitely want to talk about say like the roof and they have the problem.
But that's very hard.
Couple upgraded versions of existing Lego sets and modulars, like the boutique hotel, the Parisian restaurant, the bookstore, pet shop, the corner garage, Lego City Hospital from either this past year, I think it was this year, given the greens in there. Like the idea of the overpass here. Lego Man 130 on Instagram. The roll-up gate is a nice touch. Strange, it feels a lot more spacious for a Walmart. Or at least compared to ones in my area. There's usually pallets of stuff in between aisles. Just enough room to get shopping carts through. I wonder if the straight here is supposed to be a pun. Like a waterway straight. But it's a great use of some hidden side sets and upgrading them a bit.
Just look for the green thing you said.
That's pretty cool. So it says on here that the Fiat 500 was made in yellow and blue. The blue one, I believe, was a European exclusive recolor. So mixing the two together, you get green. very creative idea. And surprisingly, looking through the pieces, it's almost a perfect recolor. Maybe a few light gray in there, but it doesn't look out of place. Uh-oh, I think this is some science. And chemistry? Yeah, not my favorite science, though. But this itself looks incredible. Yes, science, absolutely. And welcome to the stream. I always love when people recreate the video games and video game systems in Lego. These are really good. I tried doing that with the official Nintendo Entertainment System that Lego created in 2020 in adding a light kit to it. Like, hopefully a drop-in sort of thing, like without modifying the instructions for the original set. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out because it would have interrupted with the cartridge slot. But probably wouldn't take too much to tweak it, and maybe like an alternate idea so to make it a little more drop-in. I just kind of wish it happened 2 years earlier while I was working on it. So recently LEGO released the Atari model, similar to the NES, and they also had a couple of smaller displays to go with it for some of the Atari classics. This is a expansion upon that, and even a reimagining of some of those things, which is cool. So I think Cyber joined in just the right time. Now we gotta add the Game Genie in there. We're now moving on to Chris Elliott's area. I've been to a couple times and always good to see some more stuff out of it. He's got a lot of miniature models of buildings, as well as, yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a Sega decision, but yeah. He has a lot of miniature buildings and some cars that are almost minifig scale. Some close enough to fit minifigs in them, but all very impressive with their own backdrops. Everything in here is made by one person. Yeah, sure. This one was a surprise at the show. I really dig this one. Not only in the fact of it being multicolored like that, but also that it's all built sideways. You can see all the studs are facing to the left. So that's got to be something pretty incredible to come up with. It almost looks like it's to scale, but
It is.
oh, good.
Well, it's to scale horizontally.
Gotcha.
And I couldn't vertical prove to be difficult.
Mm-hmm.
There's a famous blueprint, and the central tower is octagonal. And there's a 10 by 10 octagonal plate. And so I used that centerpiece, and then I, just using a ruler and converting millimeters to studs, figured out how big the thing had to be from that. So it's really pretty darn good.
It looks really impressive.
There's a very famous sketch from the middle of the 19th century.
Good job.
And it's very funny the number of people who just walk up to him. Sometimes we're great dissuades. Oh, these are the same. You know, and I was thinking this has to be incredibly obscure, but it's a real landmark.
Yeah.
You could go.
It's good a lot of people recognize it.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah, I think I found Waldo already, but I don't know if it's the
I
same
moved
one.
in this morning.
Okay. Well, I didn't find him yesterday.
People.
I'm just looking
People
now,
give
and
me a
I see a
hard
couple of
time.
them that have striped shirts, but I don't think that's him.
Yeah, there are a lot of pirates that had striped shirts.
Mm-hmm.
Good old days.
There's a couple striped poles I see throughout.
Yeah.
Oh, I found him. Okay.
Yeah, that was my, the striped poles was the suggestion of my granddaughter, who's 6 at the time. I think it's a sign that she's going to be a serial killer when she grows up.
That's one way to put it. I thought that was a thing in the Waldo books, though, that they had a couple of striped poles or something.
There are lots of red and white stripes. But, doing that in Lego was a challenge.
I got you. Okay, there's like 2 tables down and 15 minutes to go. Trying to make it a smooth walk. This one's a very unique area. Different Batman vehicles. I don't know enough of the comics if it's real, but it's great to adapt it. I would not be surprised if it was called the Bat Sale. I like the Joker Steamboat. Yes, sir, these are all customs. But I need them on their own. These minifigs that are custom. Yeah, got some range. This one doing the lights where all the things that have lights on them get more properly shine. This one had several, like pretty much each of their weapons has a light on it. There are headlights on the car that light up. It actually feels like a real car headlights, like the right sheen to it. I think there were 1 or 2 lights on top of it that flash back and forth. So it's got a lot going on. I like the staging here with the Muppets. Give me a sec.
I just bought, whenever I see stuff like this, I just take. And then eventually I'm going through cockpits and stuff like that. Yeah, I was just going through stuff and it's like, I didn't know what color it was.
This one has a microwave, and there are 2 motorized sections. So somewhere underneath the base was a setup with 1 motor to operate the blender, and I'm trying to remember what else it was. It was like the blender on the back table and the mixer in the front. That spins. These were custom models from Bricker Builds. There are some people who have instructions available for different models, and even in some cases have the parts available as well to put the whole thing together. Absolutely. I don't have anything on display here, not for this show, for reasons. So I don't have any particular area to talk about myself. But it is great that I get a chance to absorb everyone else's much more than I would have opportunity otherwise. I love all these fish. It reminds me of the butterflies that we saw earlier on just that patterning. My friend Seth made this one, and it's criminally not documented on Beyond the Brick. I believe it should be, but hey, I'm doing it. It has a whole bunch of lights throughout for different areas. Some things like the Mr. Freeze section has lights. There's, I believe, lights around, I forget what this character's name is, with the one with the jetpack and flamethrower. I think it's Firefly. Some of the buildings have lights on them. There's also a light for the, I forget what the thing is called. Bat signal. That's it. But full of intricate detail in here. It took a year to build, and this is the second show that it's at. But I'm not sure how much longer it's going to be here before it's converted to other things, but there's a lot to enjoy out of it already. I believe Mini Superheroes Today on YouTube also has a documented video about this. But there's all different kinds of little scenes going on and tons of villains. Some of them even customized. Some of them are official. It's Gotham City. It says inspired by the various Batman media like Arkham Knight and the 1990s films. Ultimately, my own distinct take on the iconic city. So it's got inspiration from there, yeah. But not exclusively that. The You're Welcome sign is actually a pretty good use there. Because that was a piece that was printed for the Lego Movie 2 and kind of a short, quick joke in the movie that they adapted into the Lego set. I like the idea here that it's already like capturing them, putting them in front of the police department, and just Batman leaving a sign that says "You're welcome." That's a good idea. I didn't even notice that last time in Virginia. Now, even though I don't have anything on display personally, I am actually in here, right here, as part of the inmates breaking out of Arkham. Every inmate that's in here in this section is actually based on our group of friends. So the one who built it is actually in the straitjacket. That's the fun part of it. As using an older minifig piece before they were able to make posable figures with arms and legs. And it actually works really well here. But I just hear no straitjacket, just a leather jacket. Exactly. The person I mentioned before, Mini Superheroes Today, who has also done a video about this, I posted it through his socials. He's actually right here with the selfie cam, which makes sense. He's a very good influencer. He's a very good creator. He's over in Denmark now, actually, at the Lego house in Legoland. I'm sure I have a lot to cover about that on YouTube. There are some more photos of the whole MOC and different sections of it through Seth Motion Creations on Instagram. If you want to see more about that. My other friend Sawyer built a couple things in here. All have different techniques, having their own style to them. My friend Nathan built the Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, Partridge Family, and the Green Lantern you see back there. And I was talking with him yesterday or so, maybe the day before. This is the handle design I've actually used myself in a MOC, like just completely by coincidence. But I didn't make Mjolnir.
More Transformers.
Oh, dual live streaming.
Oh, dual live streaming. All right. You know what? I'll go.
No, you're good. I was gonna say if you want to go forward, that's okay.
Look at that. The Green Lantern, which is phenomenal. And then, guys, that's the Partridge Family.
And it's drivable too, like it's remote controlled.
It's okay. So I guess it's remote control.
I've seen it a couple shows before, so it's actually been able to drive back and
That's
forth.
amazing. Again, guys, this is what you can do with Lego if you put your mind to it. And look at Gotham's Most Wanted. Look at this. Thor's hammer. Ridiculous, guys. Absolutely ridiculous.
That whole Gotham City took a year to build, and started getting display at BrickFair, Virginia in August. Creators helping creators, am I right?
I want to see it. There's no rolls on here for the most part. Just one.
As I saw this earlier, this is a motorized turntable. Which explains the grooves in it, just like an actual vinyl.
Unfortunately, the creator's not here yet, but when he had it going yesterday, and he used a little like a portable speaker, and he controlled the music on his phone. But as it moved, it played music.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I forget how long it took him to build, but at least a few weeks. I don't know exactly, but it's great, and he put it in for ideas. So I'm trying to please vote because I want one of my own.
Absolutely. It might be a stretch to ask, but I'm assuming it's not made to incrementally move inward on the panel, right?
No, it's like you can move the tone arm, But
But
there
it
is
doesn't have that actual type of movement.
Right. Okay.
And there's like he designed a mechanism like underneath to make the turntable move, like
Right.
from the bottom. I don't know the inner workings. I just know that. But that took a bit of time for him to see how to make that work.
I can imagine.
Yeah. I don't. I wish I could remember offhand how long it took him to build that. But it's amazing. I've been enjoying vibing to the music when he was having it going yesterday. It was great.
Remember, guys, in November, I'm actually going to go to this.
Some Mr. Bean inspired cars. That's a great idea. I like how they each have their own headlights too.
Yeah. They're adorable.
I like how all weekend you stuck with the Hollow Knight like shirts theming of it.
Reuse one. Shh, nobody needs to know.
I'm sure it's laundered.
You got a theme, you gotta stick with it, right?
Yeah.
It's called commitment.
Here's the other side of that city I was showing you earlier. Unreal. Yeah, so here's the rest of it.
Looks like the snail lug, like the little grub there.
So you know about Casey, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
She told me.
Yeah. That's
That's
her
her
own
thing.
award thing.
Yeah.
Some people have that, and I think it's very cool.
I just used some of those little hearts that were in the bag because I don't have my own calling card thing.
Yeah. They're trying to come up with one for at least a year, and still a work in progress. For those who don't know, Lego Tower is an app game in which you manage a skyscraper with all these different rooms. And these are some creations based on those rooms. I believe every single one of these is made by Strawbricks. Right. First room done, and convention is almost about to begin. One detail I noticed in the pirate ship is that there's a Minecraft furnace in the lower deck. It's a great idea. And I also noticed that in the cabin there is a working compass. I like the hourglass piece in there, and the golden dinosaur. I'm trying to remember. I should know what that came from, but it's kind of escaping me right now. Nothing current, I know that much. Any questions, I'm ready to answer as many as I can. Maybe not about the builds, but about the weekend. I've said before, this one reminds me of the Mario Party minigame with the turning gears in different directions. That being said, there were a few other players that had to leave early, so unfortunately for the Sunday recording, I do not have them available from the show. But their tables have already been packed up. I think it's been a good turnout so far this weekend. Personally, I think it's another question, kind of all over the place, up and down. But I've been enjoying it. There's a lot of cool stuff I've seen in here. I mentioned a few things that stood out earlier. I was happy to see this one.
Joey do the same thing I'm doing.
Yeah, there's like 3 people live streaming right now. Yeah, I wish they did too. I think they currently have one: Minecraft, Super Mario, Overwatch. In the past, they've done 1 or 2 like one-off ones. The Force Unleashed, they had a set based on that game, or the first game, I should say. I guess if you count Lego video games, they've had several things over time, or, you know, the pre-order bonuses of characters that are in the games. This was really nice during World of Lights, because you only got to see the lanterns and the lights in the windows. Apparently this one was at BrickFair, Virginia, and I completely overlooked it, and I feel bad about that, because this is not a thing you need to overlook. Right, that's a Sonic set. It's getting easier to find. I think even like Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart. No, I'm not sure about Walmart, but I know I've seen it at Target. There was the older Sonic set with some different coloring and expression on him. That one, obviously harder to find, because that was like 2016 or something. They technically had a Portal set. They had Lego Dimensions, which brought in a couple video game franchises. They had Midway Arcade as a set. They had Sonic. They had Portal. So there is technically a real shell and Portal gun set. This has a whole bunch of lights in it. I actually still have to light up mine for the ship in the bottle, but I like what they redecorated inside of there. Yeah, absolutely. I know people who have been pitching for years for a Legend of Zelda Lego set, which I think would be remarkable if they made that. This one actually stood out to me a lot. I do agree with the nomination, even though I didn't actually nominate myself. It's not out of... It's just because I'm not good at looking at the website when the nominations come up.
Are you live?
Yep. Just trying to
Hello
cover.
to your audience.
Yep. Thank you. I think every time this weekend I've seen this area, it's been at World of Lights, so
Yes.
now I can appreciate more of it during the day.
The party's still going on from last night.
It's one of those 24-hour places.
Exactly, yeah.
whole bunch of lighted areas in here, even interiors that are lit up. Some dinosaurs at the top. I like the custom billboard. Oh yeah? Oh yeah, I saw the lights flickering. That's cool. Okay, I see the solution we had over here. So during the weekend, this is the area that I've been working in, called bridge building. We use Duplo bricks to try to build a bridge in 5 minutes. Groups of about four or five groups, at a time, on 3 different events, 11, 1, and 3. So the idea of it is to have the strongest bridge built. Similar to what LEGO Masters had done, but we've been doing it way before the show aired. We'd have a whole bunch of metal columns put up here, lay the bridge across it, and then use some weights in order to test how sturdy it is. And so far our record for the weekend has been actually earlier and Saturday has yet to be broken. 188 pounds, which is all the dumb weights that we've brought with us. 1 fluffy puppy, because that's also a joke with it. Like, we run out of the weights, and that's the next the next item we use. And then after that point, we remove 1 brick at a time to see if it still holds together with all that weight, and the puppy, of course, on top of it. So 188 pounds, 1 fluffy puppy, 6 bricks removed before it collapsed, which is impressive. Very impressive. There are some of them that have gone over 200 pounds, and these are all out of Duplo pieces too. It's in the technique of it to make it hold together. It's got a lot more to cover on this side as well. This area is a stay and play where people can come in, build their own stuff out of all different kinds of parts, all different ages of bricks. Usually a lot of Knights Kingdom pieces wind up in here, and some of them in the Derby area as well. I think there's some fun ones all around. There's even a placemat or two on some green tables, so if kids wanted to drive a car around, they have a little road to do so. I know this is technically a MOC walk, and I should be highlighting the display area, but I also wanted to take a little moment to check out the unique things that are come up with just at the show. This one almost looks like the Knight Rider car that we saw earlier, even having the red on the front of it. If this is a basic version of that, I still recognize it, and I love it. Really well done, even on those kinds of pieces. It's like a house plane. A lot of unique ideas out of these. Earlier in the weekend, as we were setting this area up, I found a Keyblade from Kingdom Hearts that somebody created from a previous event. But unfortunately, it was very fragile. So I don't know how it made it here, but it hasn't lasted. Alright, so now I'm making way over to my Bionicle. I like how each of them has their own space theme, color
Yeah.
scheme.
Working on it. Let's see. We've got Neutron, Unicron, Space Police 1,
Mm-hmm.
3 left. I think that's it. I guess insectoids too.
Yeah. One person in the live stream said, "I wish Exoforce would return." So, very much feel that as well.
I mean, Ninjago's kind of filling that gap. You know?
Yeah.
Like the mechs they've been doing for Ninjago are really pretty slick. So.
A little bit of Monkey Kid helps with that
That's
here and
true,
there.
Yeah, Monkey Kid too.
Several different Bionicle mosaics up here. I believe the word is lenticular, in which, looking at them from one angle, you see one image, and then as I walk across, from that angle, it looks like a different image. So we have Lewa, however you want to pronounce it, Tahoe, Pohatu, and Gali, based on G1 and G2 Bionicle. The Borak one isn't a lenticular, but still a mosaic. Still looks really good. Some of the Bionicle MOCs I appreciate just alone on the parts usage. A lot of unique parts, like that one is just a canister lid used as part of the head or headgear. You have the cloth pieces from, I think, Obi-Wan is wrapping around the ship. Or not the ship. Calls it a lion or sea lion. I'd love to see more expanded from this style. The chibi Star Wars figures. Framing is good. Minifig Taco. Some parts are also customized. For example, the masks on each of these figures having a different paint work than was released in the set. But still, I love the craftsmanship there. Another QR code. I think it's actually very inventive. And I've seen this a couple shows before, but I still enjoy it. It's very inventive that each of these bases are using LEGO dimensions to provide the lights. And just the right transparent pieces to go over it to create a different atmosphere out of it. Even some of them flashing. Like, I never would have thought of that, and I own 2 of the bases. So I still need to figure out. I know who made them, and I just need to figure out how to do that. I actually have never lit up a MOC for World of Light, and the one or two that I had wanted to, it was going to be arduous. So many lights that I was not prepared for, so I have yet to do that myself. Yeah, I mean the game is, Oh, first of all, Kevin Hinkle swarming around on the tornado. Prominent Lego figure that now does his own artwork. He's freelance. Yeah, I mean, like, I highly praised Lego Dimensions in terms of toy to life. Then again, I never really played Skylanders and very little other types of that. I mean, Amiibo would be the next one. I'm trying to remember. I thought there was a third one that I had. Oh, Disney Infinity. That's that's right. I've said before that I felt like Lego Dimensions really did their homework. Like they had a method to it that worked very well. Of you don't just put the figure on there and keep playing the game and never touch the figure again. You actually do have to move it back and forth to solve different puzzles or defeat enemies. That being said, highly expensive. To actually play through with all the characters, it was easily $300, $400 for all the packs and everything. I'm scared to admit if it was more. Some of them I did get on discount at one point or another, though. But I do have all the packs nowadays. I'm very happy with that. But the base game, I think, was $100. And I don't think that was unreasonable, even as a AAA title. It's not even pay to win. It's more of like DLC that's also physical. Because you have actual figures out of it, which is good on some like collectible merit. But you also have, the ability to play with them in the game. Otherwise, you have the base game, which has like 3 figures included with it. Which you can still beat the entire game with just that. But if you want to complete the game, that's where you're gonna need a lot more figures. Not even everybody, but a lot more. Unless you want to hear all the interactions, because figures on the same board will say different lines to each other based on who it is. So, like, if you have Bart Simpson and Sonic on the same, playing in the game at the same time, Sonic will actually quote from one of the Simpsons episodes about, like, taking the video game from the store.
Which is okay, because the one that won is the one that is the
But welcome to the stream, Doki Doki Damien. I haven't recognized your name around here before. I apologize if you've been here, and I'm still waking up. But I am currently doing a mock walk all around BrickFair, Exton, Pennsylvania, for all the different displays at the show. There are several of these that have been at other shows as well before, but I still wanted to capture this as one of the more unique events. Yeah, you're welcome. Joseph Zawada is actually a good name recently, because each of these mosaics, the ones that you see down here, not the frog ones, but the ones laying on the table, have been featured in Lego advertisements. He created these himself out of some of the Lego art sets. And these were featured in some of their Lego World Map marketing, like on their social media as well. And I remarked how they have a very homely feel to them, like a nice quilted blanket. Yeah, no worries. You're all good. Do what you can. The Kermit and Frog Suit Mario ones are actually all created out of frogs, if you look very carefully. They're all facing downward and upward, and a few to the sides.
I think I mean, I know.
So frog made out of frogs. It's a really nice idea.
It was like, well, I was out.
If you know Persona, you'll get this. I just barely know Persona in order to get this, but I've seen it as well at Virginia. And it has everything built up sideways in all different directions. Next up we have Bayonetta. Let's see if I can... There we go. You're good. Yeah, Lego crafting sounds like a good idea.
Again?
I might be a while.
I never had to go change it.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Carefully handshake. Well, I'm not shaking, but rather grasping. Those are all really good ideas. And it sounds like something I should build if I knew the the visual better. If I come up with something like that. With this one, it's actually typing out what's on the keyboard. Mindstorms. Yeah, you guys can send me those ideas after the stream, so I don't forget about it. Could you believe they only made one Tron set? And this was expanded upon from that. Now this one I enjoy. I remember enjoying this one at Virginia as well, having all different styles of artwork represented in Lego. And what's very enjoyable here is that this stand shows you each of them, goes through how it was made or how long it took to make, and the artwork it represents. Okay, so they did take it down. Well, that's good. I didn't get it on video though. But there was a giant tower only made out of green bricks from this area that stretched up to the ceiling. I don't think I got a photo, but I know other people who did. I'm just walking through here to highlight this from yesterday, which I thought was incredible. Maybe needs to be taken down. But this is cool on its own, which I did get photos of yesterday. Alright, GPC time. Great ball contraption. Where it rolls around in all different kinds of mazes and functions. Many different videos about it online. Some of these may have even been at other shows and some of those other walkthroughs online. This is an area I would love to get into. Up to this point, I've only built 3 of the GBC Workshop kits. Some of them are actually part of this, but not mine personally. It's a very specific system, and I really can get so far with Technic myself without some consultation. This is the one that I had built this weekend. Without the alien bits to it, that is, but still the function was there. It works pretty well. And like the one that was changing color. This will not be the last of the snails. There's been a lot of snails around, and you'll see a lot more of them as we go forward or down. And just in time for the train. You have the classic guitar kind of up. So as it fills up, it'll tip over. It's getting there. I go a yarn usually up there. The cube's out of commission? The cube is out of commission? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. That'll be another show. Because it's still a great idea. I hope I'm not missing any. Oh no, I missed a whole bunch of comments. For some reason, when I stream on YouTube using my phone, it stops at some point showing comments, even though there's more. So I apologize if I missed what some people were talking about. Yeah, the Legotron one, I believe, was a Lego Ideas set, and I'm surprised they didn't do more with it. I didn't pick it up myself personally, but I always liked the aesthetic. I actually never watched the movies, so it was a little harder for me to get into it, just, you know, outside of how it looks. Because I've also seen other Lego sets that have carried a similar thing, like Ultra Agents has the same color scheme of black and transparent blue. It kind of does. I have actually considered making a Cubert level in Lego. Not a moving one, but still, maybe. Gotta get the right parts together, especially for the orange roundedness of Cubert. Marble Madness, am I right? See, I don't know if Reese's Pieces would work as well, because there's still a more flat side to it. But I like the idea, though. They have some instructions for years. I want to say, like, it's early 2000s of Lego candy machines you can make. You just fill it up from the top and you press a button along the bottom to feed them. There's a lot of testing that goes into these. So this is, like I said, the one from the GBC workshop this time around for this year. Everybody customizes it a little bit in some way or another. My favorite one has to be the fireman one. This one does it very good. We had a retest of them on Friday night, and yeah, probably I would imagine it's still a lot to put away too. What I got about 20 minutes before I got to start the first bridge build. And here it comes. Very cool with the double helix.
So it's just the two levers, and it essentially controls the, so one look at that guy, and back and forth, and it kind of moves to different sides of it. It's a little tricky to
One of our interactive areas with the remote control bulldozer.
Sometimes it gets all stuck. And I'm going to go forward, make sure you do both. Yeah, got it.
Let's see that one going up. Oh, my mistake. It's going up here. So it got launched from over there, way up here. I remember seeing one at a previous show with a Marvel theme to it, and it had like a giant Spider-Man web on the top that was catching them in a net. I have wanted to try a Plinko version of this, but with alternating ones, and again, highly mechanical. The red one here is another GBC workshop one that I've built, but it has a very specific way of putting gears together in the instructions, so I had to rebuild mine to get it to work. Got another one working its way up. Still got another half a room or so after the GBC to take a look at. Once we get over to a lot more space stuff, it'll be closer to the end. Like the Minotaur maze. This reminds me of the Lego Ideas maze set, which actually has a function to move the top of it back and forth to travel through the maze. Dang it, it stopped again. So yeah, all the balls you see in here are official Lego soccer balls. They had these in the early 2000s. There are even some basketballs that make their way through here as well. And since so many of them are needed for operation, they can go up a bit in price. At least nowadays. Some of them have been used for so long that the printing is fading on them. Some of them were printed without anything on them, and they were used instead as volleyballs in some sets. Even some of the basketball ones, they didn't have printing and they were still used as basketballs. They still make their way around in Lego sets nowadays every so often, but not in mass quantity. And now we are back at the front, or at least where we started for the GBC. So now we'll make our way over to Snail Lake. It's an entire area for one of the LEGO user groups, unofficial LEGO user groups. And it's called Snail Lake because its founding member is, we talked about snails for quite a bit throughout the walk. Yep. She built a lot of LEGO snails, and some of those LEGO snails make their way around as awards or even as MOCs themselves. You'll see a lot more of them later in this table area. I do agree most inspiring because I still need to work on the mountainside at home, and this is very much in the it's larger in vein of what I want to do, but still the direction I'd like to go in. Some bush pieces used at the firing. It's very good, nice. TMI, I think it says. I'm not exactly sure what it means. The Duplo Sharks are always fun to see, and the fact that somebody has 3 of them in here is just awesome. There's also a lot of sheep which have been released over the past year. If I recall correctly, it's either these or another kind of them that actually has a coat of wool that can be removed from them, like you're shearing them in the sets, which is actually pretty cool. I don't have any of them yet, but I haven't gotten onto the farm sets from this year yet. The Rebuild the World sign was actually a LEGO VIP promotion. If you had enough points, you could get one of these tin signs. They had different designs on them. And somebody actually recreated it in Lego.
What's that?
Transparent base plate is something that's usually used by master model builders, but it does circulate into the public after a while. I even have one of them myself at home. I like the curvature of the trolley, especially on the roof. Morning. Of course, even snails on our buildings, escargot. Right behind there is a giant version, almost man-made version of a stud shooter. A lot of Lego sets offer those. And if I'm understanding correctly, it actually fires. I have a smaller version of that from BrickFair, Virginia. Yellow and blue isn't just about Pennsylvania. Even has some good reach for Ukraine. I believe one of the vendors here also has some support at their table based on it. One person likes to collect traffic cones from different outlets and traffic supply stores. So they actually have them in all different colors. And possibly making more of them just by spray painting. It's kind of like the Everyone is Awesome set that we saw earlier. And yep, more snails. There we go. There's even some... There actually have been some Lego snails over time, so fair enough. And one of them peeking behind here is a very hard to find Lego snail plush from the early 2000s. I want to say 2002, 2003 or so. One of the Duplo themes had a whole bunch of fairies and snails, and little forest creatures, which we'll see in just a bit. But yeah, Snail Lake's founding member. That's her iconic design. I also like the giant Primo plush in here as well. Welcome, Mayo. Unfortunately, we lost a member earlier this year, Tony Sarmento. Will be very much missed, and he has still been immortalized in Lego. He's a big fan of Duplo, big fan of animals, big fan of dragons, so there's a good memorial for him as well. This is also at BrickFair, Virginia. I helped him several years ago with getting a set that he's always wanted, the UCS Sandcrawler. So I'm very happy that he got the experience to build it. He traded me the Simpsons house with figures from the Quickie Mart to make that happen. And I very much appreciate the Simpsons house because that's one that I've always wanted as well. So I still have that built in my Lego room at home. This area has the forest creatures I was talking about before. I believe it was Duplo Forest Friends. So Lego snails have been around for quite some time.
Trying to look at me, glad to see here.
Snail Tokyo Fairy Garden. Snail Tokyo Fairy Garden.
The border of the sign for Snailtopia Fairy Garden is actually made out of Clickets, one of the more obscure Lego systems. Similar to what we have Lego Dots nowadays, but that's a lot more user-friendly. Clickets was something that some people would regard as less Lego. It's not a congruent system. But it does have some fascinating colors. Some of them that were only made for that system, or very few pieces outside of that. I've actually wanted to make, yeah, it's officially Lego. It was like 2002 was a very weird year itself for Lego, just with all the different things that they put out, branching out from the brick itself, or having some form of connectivity, but not in the traditional way that many people recognize. I have some clickers at home, in fact. I've done a video about them a couple of years ago from the Happy Meal wave from McDonald's. Like, yeah, they even went that far with it, that they're like, we got this new system, it's accessorizing, bags and photo albums and, frames and all this kind of stuff. And they even went to the point of saying, yeah, McDonald's, you can have a bunch of those for Happy Meal toys. So I do actually have some in my collection. Unfortunately, I haven't made a snail MOC yet, though I have had some of my the MOCs that I've displayed before honored with snails. So I do still have some of those around. They make their way through either in the MOCs themselves or in other areas of my Lego collection. I have considered for a long time making a motorized snail, one that would actually be remote controlled, but I have not fully gotten onto that, although I'm sure that I have the parts to make that happen. It's the steering that might be, difficult. I'd have to really scale it up to make that feasible. Some Doctor Who in here. Some Star Wars. You do indeed have cookies. Yeah, the founding member is also very knowledgeable about Lego and Lego history. Even knowledgeable about Lego colors that have existed at some point or are still in use. He generally has a large color chart. QR code.
And that's when I posted my card and my sig fig. I got my sig
There we
fig.
go.
Oh yeah, the club. Everyone was like, "What is?"
We're
that?
live,
So I just
but if you need to get through, you're welcome
I'm
to.
taking pictures very slowly in the opposite direction.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but it's not even. You can chit chat. Yeah.
I've seen 3, almost 4 people by this point, still making their rounds. You're all good.
When I go to clear it out. Yeah,
right.
This table is the only section I need photos of still.
Yeah. I see the little red dot. I'll go yeah, or I'll actually read.
I've definitely driven by this theater before, but haven't been in it. But I did actually use the, I did go to the Downington Diner the other day for breakfast, so that was fun.
And have you seen the movie?
I have seen the movie. I filled the BrickFest a couple of years ago. I went with my mom. We didn't have a display, but we just went for the day. And on the way back, we went to the diner. And sometime after that, I saw the movie, better understood it. So I've seen the movie now 2-3 times.
Oh, nice.
And I know very well about Blobfest.
Yeah, and I have like Boogie Woogie things, and I have like hero outfits and like costumes. And she gave me one of her puppies because she has a lot in the cemetery. So we were talking about Night for Christmas and how she got into like Lego and how everyone has different loves of pop culture and characters and stuff. So she gave me a hero for my. I'm gonna build that Night for Christmas. The Jack Skellington head that's over there. So
What I haven't seen is the 80s remake of the movie, which I've understood I'm not missing much. I'm not worried about that.
Did you make instructions? No. Can you?
Unfortunately, we'll have to start making my way out, and I will have to continue sometime later. So there will be a separate stream that'll cover the rest of the room, where we have Garden Slug over there, which is not as slug related as you would think. It's just clever wordplay. There are a couple of MOCs along this side that I still need to cover, so remind me about that. And then there's a whole bunch along that side near the bingo tables. A lot more space-related ones. So my apologies for not covering everything in one video. I still wanted to get a thorough look through it, so it's not rushing or skipping anyone. Modified version of the Ghost Train from Monster Fighters 2011. There's another impressive cemetery like this. It kind of reminds me of from BrickFair, Virginia. I think I covered that before. So I still got a corner to wrap up, and I'll be on my way to other things. Back in the day, some LEGO store openings would actually have a special t-shirt with its own graphic design onto it. Some of them would also have a build that's associated with the area of the store's grand opening. Nowadays, it's a little more standard with having a particular model or a minifig pack. Some minifig packs would actually have printing on the back to say what store that it's from. There was one that opened in Pennsylvania, I believe near Philadelphia, that had a minifigure that looked like Rocky. So they actually gave him like the boxing gloves that had the messy hair. And there was a different printing to the torso to lightly but carefully resemble Rocky, you know, unofficially. It's not an officially licensed, or at least film licensed figure, but enough to get the idea. Yep, still got more snails. This is using every building system of LEGO, every brick-based building system of LEGO, I should say. Not using Plickets or Galador or Bionicle or those kinds of things. All the ones with stackable bricks like these. So the bottom one here, we have Modulux. This was a system that was pre-architecture. It was developed as like a town planning architecture build for adults. One of my best videos on YouTube on this channel is based about the history of Modulux. It's not perfect, but I enjoy it more than other videos, and it's saying a lot. So I do recommend watching that one, the history of Modulux video. The largest scale that we have here is actually using storage bricks. These would be found in, you know, a lot of different department stores and things. It's still available nowadays. Each of them has a, you know, the lid wrapping around the outside of this, and being able to, you know, lift that whole thing up in order to fit them in there. Next scale down we have is Lego Jumbo. Or I think it's, actually I'm not even sure. This one is listed as Jumbo sometimes. This one sometimes I've seen listed as Jumbo. But these are like very firm foam bricks. I don't have any of the official ones, although I have some similar ones that used to be at Five Below. But this is something that LEGO had for a short time in its own pack, or several packs of different colors of bricks. Very basic, not too many bricks that actually designed for the program, but enough to be like soft play material. I think the Legoland and Legoland Discovery Centers still use these to this day. Back here we have Primo, which I've done a video recently about as a haul, but I did cover some history with that. We have Quattro, which is double of what Duplo is, and they are compatible. Jumbo, created by Samsonite when LEGO started expanding out into the Americas, which is a system that didn't last too long, and I have most of the colors for those. Again, not too many different types of bricks made outside of 2x4s. Duplo, as mentioned earlier. And then your standard system of bricks that you have nowadays. So LEGO system, as they're called. It's every brick-based building system, creating a snail design. In fact, before we began Saturday, the Duplo one was rebuilt in the bridge building area, which was fun, but I did have to remove it in order to set up for the event. Like the deadly Miss Pac-Man here. I would say best bet, the mock walk could continue about 12, about noon. Because usually the bridge building events last about an hour or so. So that'll be my next opportunity to cover some other areas. This one has some modifications from a LEGO Creator Ferris wheel. And some other modifications to a fairground mixer. And back where we started for Snail Lake. So once again, thank you for watching. Thank you very much for Cyberwolf, Mayo Hasco, or Cyber the Wolf, excuse me, Mayo Hasco, and Doki Doki Damien. All thanks for being here and chatting for a bit. I hope to see you guys sometime later, or even on rewatch of the later part of the stream that we'll have later today. We'll be covering the outer area towards here, the Garden Slug, LEGO User Group tables further down, and the space-themed areas, sci-fi areas that wrap around where the bingo area is. So I've been able to cover about 3/4 of what is displayed here. Sunday is usually a lighter day in general, so luckily A-OK for public. And off to my duties. Once again, I apologize for not having the display area here covered. I was not aware until this morning that they had left early. So a few mocks were missed in here. I did get to see them in person, but did not get to document them. So thank you once again for watching. I'll talk to you later, and have yourself a wonderful day. And I hope you're having a wonderful weekend. I always forget to do it, bro. I used to do it all the time. I would say, we'll see you next time with more LEGO videos. So leave it at that.